let's get into it. Let's absolutely get into it. So I would like to explore that to what you might remember of your earlier years when you kind of felt the sense that you were like you something like that kind of anxiety was triggered in the system, right? Jokingly, I kind of compare it and I think about Carlton Banks, right? You must know Carlton Banks out there. When Carlton Banks thinking like, yeah, they're my friend, that's my friend. That's my friend. And Will's like, that ain't your friend. That ain't your friend. And Carlton, there was like a particular episode when Carlton had to go through that. And when he felt it, Carlton's like, oh, I'm a black man. And everyone watching is like, well, we've been known you're a black guy. Do you know what I mean? We knew from the earliest point. Carlton didn't know. And for me, it was when I got stopped and searched outside of Tesco, Old Kent Road, and I was with my friends, and the police guy was being heavy with me, and it was scary, because I was like, what? I was like 11, 12, and it was scary. I'll talk about that when I get home to Mum. You know, Mum's just gonna be like, what do you mean police? You know what I mean? It's that kind of, so that kind of fear immediately hit me. And it made me realize so many different things at that point, and it was early doors. Do you recall a point, when you were younger, where that was like a trigger for you to kind of spark a different kind of reality that you was living in? What was that like? I mean, kind of, yeah. Do you any takes?
Yeah, I'll go and then hand over to my colleagues. My family's from Barbados, and I have to say, I don't think, let me phrase it the other way. In terms of who I am and how I think about myself, I would be a fundamentally different person if my parents hadn't taken me back to Barbados from very young, and repeatedly from very young. So being Bajan is very much a part of who I am. I remember my dad's side of the family, only Bajans here? 1, 2, all right. How are you? All right, good. So my dad's side of the family lives north of the island, St. Lucie, and there's not many white people at that part. It's slightly more rural. There's Harrison Cave, which is more touristy, that people might go to. But I was walking with my aunt, my cousins, we're just walking down the road, and I'm primary school, maybe kind of 6, 7-ish. And I'm not sure that at that age I had any particular concept of what race was. I had a better understanding of what it meant to be Bajan than I did kind of being racially minoritized. But I remember really clearly these white tourists on like an open back 4x4. And there were people at the back. There was a woman at the back with a camcorder. Did they still have camcorders? Show my age. But with a camcorder, like a big old thing, is what I mean, on her shoulder, and she was filming and recording as the truck was driving. And then she panned the camera to film us, because we were walking in the same direction that they were travelling. And I remember being really confused. And I said to my cousin, but why are they filming us? Because I couldn't understand what was of interest or novel or exciting or what was worth recording. And he said, well, I'll give you the slightly more academic version of what he said. But he said that often this is what white people do. And I think it was at that moment, there was some kind of shift. So it's not stop and search. But this sense of, there's a sense of, you're filming me because I don't seem like you, and I'm something that's worth capturing, you know, in some way, to be taken back and, like, do you watch this with your friends? Look, there's some natives. I mean, how does this work? And so that's one of my earliest memories. And then I'll say very briefly, even though it wasn't shaped or articulated explicitly to me around race, I went to a state school up to the age of 8, and I remember very clearly the white female teacher wouldn't allow me to progress. Okay, this was like, I'm really showing my age, just illegal with this. remember Peter and Jane? Okay. Just and they wouldn't allow me to progress. You know, you had 1A, 1B, 1C, and she wouldn't allow. He's shaking his like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. You're by yourself. But she wouldn't allow me to progress up to say 2 or to 3. She kept making me go back to the beginning. And it sounds almost quite innocuous, but she was holding me back. And it's only many years later that I understood that Mrs. Parker, who was the only black teacher at the school, had had a conversation with my parents and said, be careful, this school and certain teachers will hold our children back. And it was as a result of that, that was one of the key factors that led my parents, and my family's working class, let me be very clear here, but they very much believed in education, which is not something you often hear about black people within wider society, but it is common. And as a result of that, they moved me out of that school and killed themselves to pay for a fee-paying school.
Ibrahim, earliest memory?
Does it have to be